Andy, we were talking about 20 minutes ago, and it was mentioned to me that it wasn't that long ago you were a ball boy for Champions League games and for games at Ibrox and so on, and there you were on Tuesday night playing for your country. What a rise!
Yeah, first of all, my family would probably kill me if you said Ibrox again. It was Parkhead, but no, it's been a massive rise for me. But that's what I was saying. You just don't look back. You've just got to keep on looking forward, and you might get a wee bit worried if you start looking back. So I just keep on looking forward and just keep on taking things as they come to me.
How do you manage to keep a level head in these situations? Because everything seems to have come in a relatively short space of time.
Just having good people around you. The three teams have been at Queen's Park, Dundee United and Hull. The boys have been great with me. They've looked after me well, and my family and friends have been a key part to it. Every time I come up the road, they make sure I keep on the kind of level ground, and they just take me away from football. We don't really talk about it, and we can just get away from it and just talk about normal things.
How did you find the atmosphere the other night? One of the more passionate international games you're going to encounter.
Yeah, both sets of fans were brilliant in the England game and the Ireland game. Especially the Scotland fans. The Scotland fans made great noise on Friday when we scored the goal. It was unbelievable, and Tuesday we didn't give them much to shout about, but they kept behind us and kept going, and Ireland and England brought a great support, so it can only be good for the kind of home nations. And
a lot's been made, of course, of the length of time between England-Scotland games. Is that a fixture you'd like to see on a more regular basis?
Yeah, I think you can see, sold out Parkhead, and England sold out their end. So it's obviously good for the fans to get back involved, and the players and the staff, we were all buzzing for it. Once we got the Ireland game out of the way and got the 3 points secured, then we looked forward to England, and it was called a friendly, but it was far from it.
And how does all that experience now stand you coming back to Hull? Obviously, you're on a fairly rough trot before the international break, and there's a big game here at the KC this weekend.
Yeah, it can only help, personally, because obviously I never played the last 3 games. So, in terms of fitness and kind of match sharpness, I got 2 games under my belt. So hopefully, I'm ready to go back in if the gaffer wants to put me back in. Also, I think other boys have done well. Robbie Brady scored 2. Stephen Quinn came on against us and done well, and I'm sure all the other internationalists done well. So we'll be coming back and high spirits, and that can only help for Sunday.
And Tom Huddleston in particular was brutally honest in his opinion of how the team as a whole played in the defeat at Burnley. Since that game, has there been a sit down between the players and the manager and some home truths spoken, so to speak?
Yeah, well, Tom had it spot on. From start to finish, they were the better team, and that was probably the most annoying thing. We couldn't argue that the 3 points went to Burnley, and we were looking to win the game. But I've not been back down to the training ground yet. This is the first day back, so I don't know what's in store if we're going to sit down and talk. But I'm sure the boys that have been in all week have been talking about it amongst themselves and probably the coaching staff, and they'll have analysed the game and see where we went wrong, and hopefully we can put that right on Sunday.
And there's talk of Jelavic and Dawson both being available again on Sunday. As a squad, how do you think you're set now with the Christmas period looming on the horizon as well?
Yeah, we got injuries at kind of a bad time. There was quite a lot of us out. We were going along quite nicely without the injuries, and then 6 or 7 of them came at the same time. Michael Dawson and Jelavic have been massive players for us this season, and when they come out the squad, it's hard to replace. But we're having them back and most of the other boys back, we'll have a more competitive squad, and we've got today and tomorrow to try and work into the manager's thoughts.
Thank you.
Andy, if I could just ask you, back to Tuesday, at the start of the game, you were one of only 2 Premier League players. I think Stephen Naismith was the other. Now, I know it changed in the second half, but do you think, having had that game, that more of your Scottish colleagues will be in the shop window for Premier League teams?
Well, I think there's a lot of them that are Premiership quality. There's a lot of them that have played in the Premiership, maybe been relegated or whatever. Russell Martin and Stephen Whittaker, the main ones that have just been relegated last season. But I think most of them can play in the Premiership and are able to play in the Premiership. But the day that happens, then Scottish football will look a lot better. We had a few Premiership players on the bench. Obviously, James Morrison, Dan Fletcher came on, and that kind of pushed the numbers up. But the Championship's still a great level, and I think the England game was just a kind of blip for us. We never performed well, but the last 2 years under the gaffer up there has been brilliant.
And of course you've been part of that squad. You know, what is the feeling for Scottish football moving forward?
You know, it's a lot happier camp to be in than I wasn't in it obviously 2-3 years ago, but you can tell with the boys that can, they're a lot happier, and that's due to results, that's due to the manager, and we're all buying into his philosophy. The fans are selling out the crowd, and you know, everyone's backing us, and that can only be good for the country. We're in a tough group, we know we are, we've got off to a good start, but we've just got to keep it going.
How much that goal mean to you at Parkhead?
Yeah, it meant a lot. You know, obviously I could only enjoy it for a minute or two until Renade went up and made it 3-1 and sealed the game. But you know, I was more disappointed with my defensive play. I would have swapped that goal for a clean sheet any day of the week.
And looking ahead to your future at Hull City, goals on the horizon for you here now?
Let's hope so. You know, first and foremost, I'm a defender, and like I said, I would take a clean sheet. But you know, it's always nice to kind of, especially when I'm getting forward a lot, it's always nice to pop up with a goal or two, and hopefully I can seal one for Hulson.
Well, you're starting to become a regular under Gordon Strachan, and you've now played in the Premier League here at Hull City. So, how have you developed as a player since August, since you're signing for Hull City from Scotland?
Yeah, I think you don't really realise it. You know, you're playing against better quality players, so that means more concentration. And you know, I think my defensive game has came on, but I think it's got a lot more to improve on. You know, I'm still working on it in the training ground, and you know, I'm still trying to get tips off people. You know, to help that kind of side of the game. My attacking game as well, that's far from the finished article. You know, still practicing my crossing and things like that, trying to pick people out in the box, and that's the main thing. You know, you're never the finished article, you've just got to keep improving.
And if you play on Sunday, where are the dangers from Tottenham going to come from?
I think as an overall squad, they've got a danger. They'll probably be thinking they've underachieved this season. They've got a great squad, and I think, you know, you've got to be wary of all their players. But you know, we've got a good squad as well, and we've got threats, so we'll be looking to try and counter on them.
Would you agree that we've got two teams coming together on Sunday that are a bit out of sorts?
Yeah, I would probably say so. Before the international break, both of us got defeats, so yeah, that's you know, correct. But we've just got to be trying to look to the next game and get the 3 points. And you know, if we can do that, we'll be looking a lot better. But we know it's a tough game, and Tottenham will be looking for the same. So it'll be put in for an interesting match. But you know, hopefully we're the ones coming out with a victory.